Okay, so what are the four P's? The four P's are the things we want to be leveraging in our lives. The first thing we need to leverage, as you would expect, is pounds. Now, what do I mean by that? Somebody asked me the other day, if I bought a house, would I buy it for cash or should I use bank finance? Now, if I buy a house for cash for £100,000 and it has no mortgage on it and the market goes up by 10%, the house goes up to be worth £110,000. You have no mortgage on it and you've made £10,000 of growth. So the market went up by 10% and you've made £10,000 of growth. By the way, the stock market is the same. If you bought £100,000 worth of stocks, you can't have a mortgage on it. The banks won't lend you for stocks. So the market goes up by 10%, your stocks are worth £110,000. So you made £10,000 of equity growth. So 10 for 10. It's very similar. Okay, however, with bank leverage in your pounds, they can lend you 75% of the value of the purchase, right? So now with my £100,000, I can buy 4 houses. I know there's other costs and fees, but for simplicity, it's 4 deposits of £25,000 each. Now buy 4 houses. When the market goes up by 10%, each one goes up by £10,000, right? So we have £40,000 of growth, equity growth. That's why the stock market does not perform as well compared to property. Over time, the stock market increases the same as the property market when you study it, right? But you can't use the leverage, okay? Now, try walking to a bank going, I've got a hot tip on a Tesco share. Will you lend me £75,000? I'll put £25,000 in. It's not going to happen. Or try going there with a business going. Say, hey, I've got this new social media idea, this concept. Will you lend me 75 grand? I'll put 25 grand in. They will laugh you out of them. Why will the banks lend on property and not other stuff? Because it's more secure. They know it. They're not stupid. Some people think banks are stupid, but they're not. They make billions and billions. Right. So who would you back if you had to back on an investment? Would you back the banks or would you back some stocks and shares that your IFA hasn't even looked at them as being part of a fund? Now, the interesting thing here is I read this book by Tony Robbins called Money Master the Game. And it blew me away what I learned there because it made me realize that when your money goes into a fund, the first 3.7% you make every year is taken away from you, right? So if you make 4% returns, the cost and fees are 3.7%, you get 0.3%. And if it goes by 7.5%, they're taking away 50% of your growth. By the way, if you have money in a pension, that's in stocks. That's part of a fund. That's what's happening to you today, right? Now in property, the beautiful thing here, the most beautiful thing here is that we can now equity release. So we go back to the bank and we say, hey, bank, we have put our rent up. We can afford to pay more. So can I borrow the 75% of the new value? They say, yes, you can. You can borrow 82.5. So that's 7.5 here, 7.5 here, 7.5 here, 7.5 here, right? So in total, 30K of equity release I can take back out. I can either take this money and keep it for me or pay my JV partners, or what I would do is I would buy a fifth house with that money. Now I've got 5 houses going up in value instead of 1. Same money, we put the same money in. We've got 5 houses or 1 house. I know which one I would prefer. Okay, brilliant.